Okay. Once we have found the change in y, now we need to find the change in x. So -1 to 0, that went up by 1. 0 to 1, that went up by 1. 1 to 2, that went up by 1. So we're just finding how the y is changing and how the x is changing, and now we're gonna write it like this. Okay, so slope, we said was m equals the change in y over the change in x. My change in y was a +2. My change in x is a +1. Here's my answer. Okay, we said how we were gonna have fraction for an answer, that's fine. Just leave it as 2 over 1, okay? Because this will help out next class if we just leave it as this fraction. So let's try another table. Okay, so example B, this was A. So example B, new table. And make sure, guys, if you have questions, you can be asking in chat. Okay, my new table is going to be 2, -3, 4, -7, 6, -11, and 8, -15. Okay, so again, we're going to try to find the change in y and the change in x. So -3 to -7. So starting at 3, I would go to -4, -5, -6, -7. This number is getting smaller. We're getting further away from 0. So my difference is -4. Jonathan, did you have a question for me?
Yeah.
What's
I
up?
don't get how you do it.
How the counting works?
Yes.
So I'm just kind of thinking about on a number line. If this is 0, how many times I move to get to -7. So if I'm here, 1, 2, 3, 4, I had to move 4 times, but I'm getting further away from 0, so my answer is -4. I'm just thinking about a number line in my head.
Okay.
So like on this one, so if I extend my number line, -8, -9, -10, -11, I'm at -7. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I moved 4 again.
Oh, so you just counting the steps, how many?
Yep, so we're just kind of counting.
Okay.
Okay. Do you guys make sure, because every once in a while, you may try to
So
get
how did
tricked
you
where it's
get,
a table where it's not the same number each time. So make sure you're checking all sets of the numbers for me. Okay, so we're finding the change in y. We also want to find the change in x. So 2 to 4, that's going up by 2. 4 to 6 is up by 2. 6 to 8 is
how
up
did
by
you get that? +2.
So I'm just giving you these numbers, Jonathan, okay? So I'm giving you this table, and we're just figuring out what the change is.
Okay.
Please, 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 guys, be careful. A common mistake that I see made is students put x on top. When we're talking slope, we're always doing y first. Okay, so my change in y was -4. And my change in x is a +2. How can we make this answer better?
We can simplify.
Divide it.
Yep, so we can divide it, we can simplify it. Anytime that you can simplify, guys, I want you to. So I can divide both of these by 2 to end up with -2 over 1. Okay. So we're finding the change in y over the change in x.
I got a question.
Yes.
So with the numbers on the side of the arrows, right?
Yep.
So what happens if one of those, like one of the numbers that's inside the box, changes its order to like +4 or something instead of -4?
Then you would tell me if that happened. That's a good question, Kyrie. If that happens, you would tell me for right now that it's not linear. Because I'm going to try to always give you guys linear tables, which means it increases by the same number each time or decreases by the same number. If it changes and this was a +4 and the rest of them were -4, you would tell me that it's not linear.
All right.
Good question. So I'm going to put one more table up here, and I think I want to see what you guys come up with. Okay, so just copy down this table for me. Okay, so Jonathan, I'm just giving you these numbers to use. So can you find me the slope of table C? Type your answer into the Zoom chat for me. I'm not going to necessarily say right or wrong. I'm going to see what you guys come up with, and then we're going to talk about it. Make sure we're doing delta y over delta x for me. Okay. About 15 more seconds if you haven't put your answer in yet. What's your answer? Okay. So I like what I'm seeing. Nobody actually had the final correct answer though. Okay, I kind of tried to trick you guys on this one a little bit. It's still linear, Kyrie, so I'm not trying to get you on that. So 2 and 0. Okay, I'm glad that we used the 0. And so I had a lot of you tell me y is 2, x is 0. That's correct, but this actually isn't simplified yet. So if you have a calculator and you type this in, the calculator is going to give you an error message. Okay, when the zero's on the bottom of our fraction, that is not okay, and this slope is actually undefined. Okay, if you don't put that word down, you will lose points every time. So when you solve, if you end up with 0 on the bottom of your fraction, that is not allowed. Your answer is undefined. Okay. When you've got that word written down, give me a reaction so I can flip it over, and we're going to talk about how to find slope from 2 points first. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Jasleen. Thanks, Zaida. Okay, when you're done, give me some sort of reaction. Thanks, Nick. And we're going to talk about how to find it from 2 points next. All right, Kira, Ada. Thanks, Jonathan, Jay, Rochelle, Kyrie. Love it. Thank you. Elias, thank you, Chloe. Okay. Okay. So if you guys can do this, then you can find slope between 2 points. Okay, I'm gonna maybe show you a different way than what you've seen in the past. And we're gonna kind of use this. So yeah, let's keep it all together. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip this. If you didn't get this yet, a key will be posted later so you can copy down the notes later. Okay. Example 2, we're gonna find slope from 2 points. Okay, we're gonna do 3 examples like this. And so the first example, I'm giving you these ordered pairs. -4, 2, and 8, -3. Okay, these are the ordered pairs that we're gonna use. And so let's set this up in a table. Okay, I've given you 2 ordered pairs, but let's set it up in a table. So again, it's gonna be like what we were just doing. So here's X, here's Y. Okay. And I'm just gonna rewrite this in the table. So -4 and 2. Notice how they're next to each other up here. They need to be next to each other on your table. 8 and -3. They're next to each other up here. They need to be next to each other in your table. So now that it's set up in a table, do those arrows again. So 2 to -3, I go from 2 to 1 to 0 to -1, -2, -3. So that would be a -5. Okay, or if you need to set up your number line, set up your number line. -4 to 8. So -4 to -3 to -2, -1, 0, and then all the way up to 8. That's going to be a difference of 12. Type in the chat for me, what goes on top for slope again? Is it the X or is it the Y?
The Y.
Okay, good. You guys won't get tricks then. So my slope, guys, would be -5 divided by 12. Okay, and just keep it as a fraction. Okay.
Right.
Let's try another one. Okay, let's try another one. So my ordered pairs are going to be 1, 2, and -1, 2. Okay. 2 ordered pairs, let's make it easy. Let's set it up in a table. So I've got X and Y. 1 and 2 are together, so I'm going to keep them together in the table. -1 and 2 are next to each other up here, so they need to be next to each other in the table. Two to 2, difference of 0. 1 to -1. So I go from 1 to 0, 0 to -1. That's going to be a -2. Now you guys can actually see what I'm saying. And most of you just told me when we write slope, the Y should be on top because we're doing rise over run. So my rise was 0. My run was -2. Not completely, Joseph. So we talked about in the last one, 0 is on the bottom and how that was undefined. Well, if 0's on top, that's actually okay. And so my slope here would be 0. You can use the word or you can use the number. I don't care which, whatever is easier for you. So our 4 different types of slope, we could have negative, we could have positive, we could have 0, undefined, or negative. Positive, negative, 0, undefined. I have no idea what words I just said, but those would be the 4. Okay.
I like you.
You are going to see 0 and undefined on your homework tonight. So make sure you're kind of keeping track of those. All right. I want you guys,
Okay.
yeah. I want you guys to try the next one. I think you can handle it. Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 ordered pairs, and I want you to tell me what the slope is. So 4, 5, and 4, 7. Find me the slope, type it in the chat. Make sure it is fully simplified. So simplify that further, Joe. Yes, Jasleen. Good, Christian. Kieran, I like it. Adrian, I like it. Nick, I like it. Yes, Rochelle. I like what I'm seeing. Everybody's fully simplifying it for me. This is awesome. Okay. Everybody's using the words. You're not leaving it stuck as 0. That is awesome. So just kind of make sure. Okay, here's my table. This changes by +2. This is changing by 0. Slope is the change in y over the change in x, which would be 2 over 0, but this is not okay, so my answer is undefined. You guys are awesome. Okay, you guys are awesome.
Did you just subtract it?
Subtract what?
The one on the right? Like 5 and 7. Did you just subtract it?
I mean, you can subtract like 7 minus 5 to figure out what the number should be if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Wait,
Kyrie,
so
make
how
sure you're
come
putting,
the order switched?
I was gonna say, so we've got to be putting y on top. So 2 should be on top of this. Because we're always gonna do y over x.
So how come on the previous one oh wait, never mind.
Cool. Okay, good questions though, Kyrie. All right. Hey guys, here's the deal with the last part of the notes. This chapter is going to be a lot of graphing, only you guys are at home, and I have no idea if you have graph paper, and I'm not going to mail graph paper to each of you. So we're going to attempt to sketch some graphs out and just kind of do your best for me for what it's going to look like. On your homework tonight, I'm not making you graph anything, but graphing is a big part of this chapter, so we're just going to kind of see how it goes. Okay? So the last thing that we're going to talk about, okay, example 3, is slope from a graph. Okay. And so for the first graph, just try to draw from the best that you can. So here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4 hash marks on each part of the graph. Okay, just try to keep them evenly spaced out the best that you can in your notebook. I'll do that. Okay. And then maybe I'll switch. You're gonna put a point here on the y-axis, so on your first hash mark. And then you're gonna put a point here at 2, 2. Again, I know you don't have graph paper, just try to draw it for me the best that you can. Okay, so if it helps, here are the ordered pairs. So we've got a dot at 0, 1, and we've got a dot at 2, 2. So those numbers came in really small. Okay, so 0, 1, and 2, 2. And so when, give me some sort of reaction when you've got all that down on your graph. So you've got the graph, you've got the 2 dots, you've got the line going through. Give me a reaction if you've got all that. Okay, thanks, Jasleen, Saida, Adrian, Jonathan, Kyrie, thank you. Kyrie, you gotta send me that reaction tomorrow for my birthday. Thanks, Chloe, thanks, Jay. Yes, Christian. So when we're counting slope, oftentimes we use these triangles, but since we don't have graph paper, we're gonna kind of use like little cloud things. And so every time we move a cloud, that's kind of moving up an imaginary box. Okay. Again, guys, I don't know how to graph yet virtually for you guys, so this is what we're gonna attempt. So if I'm starting at 0, 1, I need to go up 1. So I'm gonna put a +1 over here. Okay, so I moved up 1 box, and then I moved over 2 boxes to the right. And so it'll be easier to tell on your homework when you actually have a graph in front of you to be able to count the boxes. But we're going up 1 box and over 2 boxes. And so my slope, okay, my rise over my run, I went up 1 and over 2. Okay. Up 1 over 2 to the right, that's going to be a positive. We're going to try to sketch another graph. Okay, I want you guys to see what a -1 is going to look like. So we're going to draw another graph. And again, we're going to put 4 hash marks on each part of the graph. I'm going to put a point on the third mark on the y-axis and on the first part of the x-axis. And so give me one last reaction when you've got this graph down. And if you're not sure something is on the graph, just ask me. Thanks, Jocelyn. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Chloe. Thanks, Kyrie. Okay, thanks, Elias. Thanks, Ada. Thanks, Rochelle. Yes, Nick. Okay. So again, on your homework, you'll actually be able to see the grid lines, but we're drawing that slope triangle, and slope's gonna be rise over run. Okay, so I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 spots I moves down. So I'm trying to draw lines to connect my 2 points. So I went down -3, and now I'm here. And so from here, I'm gonna move here to get to my dot. I moved 1 to the right, so that's gonna be a +1. So my slope, when I do the change in y over the change in x, I went down -3, and I went over 1 to the right. Please, guys, watch your positives versus your negatives. That's where I see a lot of students mess up. So just kind of watch that. But you're just counting boxes for me when you're looking at slope. There's one other quick thing that I want to talk about, and then that'll be it for the notes today. So the last thing that I want to talk about, I'm just going to kind of use the extra space that I have near the top because I'm too lazy to go get another page. So just kind of find space in your notes. It deals with graphs. So kind of graph C and D. Any vertical line, okay? It's got to be going straight up and down though. Vertical line, that will be our undefined slope. Okay, every time. Okay, so if 0 is on the bottom, or if it's a vertical line, your slope will be defined. So that would mean 0 slope. If 0's on the top part of your fraction, or if you have a horizontal line somewhere on the graph, that is when your slope is 0. And you can either use the word or you can use the number. Okay, but these are 4 different types of slope: positive, negative, undefined, and 0. When I ask you to find slope, I'm looking for numbers. So don't just tell me positive or negative, give me what the numbers are. That's what I've got today for the notes. Let me show you what all is posted on Schoology, okay? And then you'll be able to get started on your homework for tonight. So taking a look, today is September 30th. And so the folder will be published here in just a second. So today we're all focused on finding slope. Okay. I'm gonna post a video of the notes